When doing projectiles questions, three important quantities must be known. They are the maximum height, time of flight, and range. These can all be mathematically derived in a fairly straightforward manner, and I'm going to be directing you through the proofs of this. You will need to be familiar with the double angle formulae when we get to range. That's the only little caveat. So the first one is maximum height. We won't actually be caring about the x here because maximum height only depends on y. So v squared equals u squared plus 2as. We can have s as h, that's our max height. The u is, with our vector knowledge, it's u sine alpha. At the maximum height, it has no vertical velocity. So its velocity vector will be something slightly straighter, so something like this. And then, say at this point, it's going to be pointing down like this. So after solving, u sine alpha squared, so you get u squared times sine a squared. But for shorthand, we write it as u squared sine squared alpha, or a even, divided by 2g. And that is our maximum height formula. You can dimensionally analyze that if you wish, just remembering that sine squared alpha is just a constant. Time of flight is the next port of call. Time of flight happens when sy is 0. So this will happen at 2 times if we start on level ground. So it's essentially where it crosses the x-axis again. So using s equals ut, that's 0 equals u sine alpha t minus a half gt squared. So adding a half gt squared to both sides and cancelling the t because one of them is 0, we get, after a bit of rearranging, t equals 2u sine alpha over g. Again, dimensionally analyze the formula if you wish. Now, range is the one that kind of trips people up a bit. We have to use the time of flight in with sx equals uxt with the initial velocity in the x direction, which is u cos alpha. Multiplying straight through, we get 2u squared sine alpha cos alpha over g. However, the double angle identity sine 2 alpha is 2 sine alpha cos alpha, or rather any angle. You can rearrange this to say u squared times 2 sine a cos a, and then this 2 sine a cos a turns into a sine 2a. So that's how you get u squared sine 2a over g. So just as a recap, the formulas are maximum height u squared sine squared a over g, time of flight t equals 2u sine a over g, and range is 2u squared sine a cos a over g, or u squared sine 2a all over g.